Once upon a time, I was a princess in this fairy tale gumdrop.
Yo, yo, yo. Welcome, everybody, to a special Thursday night edition of the Lowdown. I am Princess Skywalker Jess, and as usual, we've got my lovely co-host, John Anthony, here tonight. How are you today?
What's going on, boys and girls? How's everybody doing on this wonderful Thursday night?
Cold-ass Thursday night.
Cold-ass Thursday night.
Cold. It is cold here. It is cold there. It is just fucking cold. It's 16 degrees here. Feels like 6.
21 here.
Yeah, it's fucking cold. It snowed last night. I woke up this morning. I was like, what the fuck? Where the fuck did this come from? I was not expecting it.
Yeah.
Then again, I don't watch the news, so...
Yeah, the cold's going to be here for a while. I was looking at the next week and fucking almost single digits here, so get excited.
Well, it can get gone before I gotta come out there for my niece's birthday, so... Because
You better start praying. Better be an early spring or something.
Woo! Yeah, because it's going to be cold.
It's cold where you are. It's cool where I am. But right now, this show about to be hot. Very, very soon.
Fuck yeah, this show's about to be fire tonight, you guys. So for those who don't know, even though I've promoted it 1,000 times, we have the one, the only Tj motherfucking Perkins joining us tonight on our show. So that is going to be super exciting. We're just hanging out right now, waiting for him to join. He should be here within the next 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun.
I'm excited for this, man. I started liking him in Ring of Honor, and then when he came out in TNA as Manic, he was awesome there, and just what they could have had in WWE. And I can't wait to ask him about some of the stuff after he was the inaugural Cruiserweight champion. So I got some questions for him, but the way they packaged him there, he was awesome. Very, very happy with what he did there. So, and obviously, very happy with what he's doing now. He had an amazing match a few days ago
on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So, guy's good. You wouldn't know, man. You wouldn't know he's been in the business almost 30 years. It's wild.
Right.
Yeah, his birthday is like 2 months before mine, so we're the same age. That's great.
Yeah, we're all the same age.
Yep.
Well, so. I'm the youngest. I still have 4 hours until I'm in the same age realm as you guys.
You're literally like a month.
4 hours.
Like 5 months younger than him, and you're like 3 months younger than me. That's cute. Yeah, hold on to that.
Mm-hmm. Well, my friend Stacy just posted on my Facebook saying that this is her favorite time of year when I'm older than her. I'm like, for 4 fucking months.
The dirty 30 is over, baby.
It's over. It's time for them 40s. I'm excited.
Yeah, embrace it, baby. Embrace it.
I'm excited for it. I mean, aging is inevitable, so you might as well just fucking embrace it instead of worry about it.
It's also just a number, so it's all good.
Right. I don't look 40. I feel 40, but I don't look 40. Don't knock it off.
Too heavy for the table. But yeah.
I'm excited for my pink princess party on Saturday.
That's nuts.
I have a tiara and everything. It's gonna be fucking fantastic.
So definitely gotta bring in pictures.
Yep, it's gonna be adorable.
Yo, and shout out to our boy Mike for the brand new background. Awesome new theme, by the way, for the show.
Yeah, and the intro. I had to give up my girly song, which I absolutely loved, but the new intro is fire. I know, he kept it in there for me a little bit because he knew how much I liked it. Oh,
Tank. Okay.
There's Tanker. Whoa. Hi, buddy. Hi, buddy. Tank coming to say hi. Oh, now he's going to start barking because the people are here with their food. So he's going to start losing his money.
The show's on. He's the official mascot. He knows when to show up.
Yep. Sorry, guys. You get to hear my idiots bark. All because there's somebody outside. And the somebody is bringing their food. So if only they knew. Do not open that door. Yes, I'm telling a dog not to open a door because he fucking will.
Wait, are you talking to Tank?
Yes, Dum Dum knows how to open doors.
I mean, my cat's part Mancoon has opposable thumbs, but I don't think he can open up doors. Oh,
Yeah,
we got
no, this idiot knows how to open doors. That's when I try and trap him in the room with my husband when we're freaking on. He fucking opens the goddamn door and lets himself out.
wild. So, if those of you that are watching, obviously share this. Please let everybody know. This is going to be an awesome minutes. So, very, very excited for TJP. The man goes by like 15 different names. It's wild. So, but yeah.
Sorry, the dogs are losing their fucking minds right now. Like losing their fucking minds.
Oh.
Yes, I know you know it's your food outside. Dad'll be home soon and he can bring it in. Losing their minds. Sorry, everybody, if you don't like to listen to dogs fucking bark. Just kind of happens on this fucking
watch
show.
the show, it happens a lot. So it's all good.
It happens a lot. I'm sorry. I have 2 German Shepherds. I can't control what they do.
My cats don't give a shit. They're sleeping. So it's okay.
My cats are in the bathroom. And then this one here doesn't do much. I don't even know where she is. Oh, she's way over there.
Do you have a favorite match of TJP's and someone else? Do you have a favorite match that like was it a match like the first one you saw? Was it a match that you've seen with him that you really liked?
I can't really pinpoint one because I've enjoyed every single fucking match I've ever watched of his.
That's such a Mark answer. Oh, man,
it is like, a Mark answer.
That's like, oh my god. What match would you pick as your favorite? I just gotta say, all of them were so great to me. Okay, get the fuck on.
You remember I have a brain like an elephant, right? And I don't fucking remember shit.
That's true, yeah.
Okay. So, oh my god, I'm going to kill these freaking mutts.
Yeah, it's not hard before the interview starts.
Up. My god, shut up. I've been yelling at them all week. They've been driving me absolutely batshit crazy.
Next time the food a little better.
I can't control when DoorDash freaking shows up, man. It just had happened was, okay?
Yeah.
His cruiserweight title run was amazing, Victoria.
It really was. He got his hands on a lot of different dudes in WWE. Like, it was really, really good to see.
That's the first time I've called you by your full name. Sorry, Tori. Calling you by your government name and shit. Jesus Christ.
Oh.
Chris Bay did have some fucking amazing match. Amazing match. That match was fire. TJP and Chris Bay.
Oh, Chris Bay, man. Fuck. Yeah.
Prayers out to Chris Bay.
Prayers out, man. I mean, 3 months after, still in the hospital, man. It's wild. Freak injury. Oh.
Yeah,
sucks.
That kid was on fire too. It sucks.
No, they really were. That ABC was on fire, dude. They were on fire in TNA. It sucks. But
he's a talented guy. He's really nice too. I talked to him a couple of times. He's a really nice guy too.
Yeah, it could happen to a better dude. Again, just what a freak accident. Like, sucks. But just like any sport that anyone's in, it's always a risk everyone has to take, unfortunately. So hopefully at some point there's a recovery process that he's able to hopefully get back in the ring, you know?
Yeah.
If Kenny Wade can get 2 feet of his intestines taken out and come back from that, hopefully, I mean, Chris can come back.
Yeah, no joke.
So awesome.
At least you can't tell too bad that my eyes all fucked up.
If you didn't talk about it, no one would even know.
I know.
You're just that you gotta draw attention to it.
I know I did, but it's okay. I don't care. It's something to talk about at the moment.
Oh, wait, is there Don't mind me, I'm everywhere, but is he still on?
I don't know. I couldn't tell.
I'll be right back. Hold on.
Okay.
He's not going to see that. Okay. Oh. Awesome. Cool. Yeah. Ring of Honor, MLW, like TNA, WWE, New Japan, countless other companies and promotions that he's been in, being champion. He's been a world heavyweight champion in other companies as well. So I feel like a lot of people just know him as a flippy guy, cruiserweight kind of thing. Obviously, the X Division champion TNA, but he's done a lot of other stuff, especially being the leader over in the United Empire as well over in New Japan. He's doing a hell of a job over there as well. So, yeah, man.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let's welcome our guest to the stage. Well, everybody. Welcome, TJP. How are you?
Hi, guys. How are you? Do I sound okay?
Yep, everything sounds great. Thank you.
That's
Thank
good.
you so much for joining us tonight.
Oh, no problem.
Still jet lagged?
Oh, I don't really get jet lagged anymore. Everything is just one big day.
Yeah. I'm sure with you traveling to Japan so much, it's not as bad.
Well, two little tiny versions of me running around mostly make
Yeah.
it
That'll do it.
Otherwise, it's all right.
John feels that little kid life. Mine are old.
Yeah, mine are 4 and 2, so I get that.
Mine are 13 and will be 20 next week. So mine are way past that stage.
Well, leaving the nest, I'm sure, is a nice transition.
Yeah, they're still here. He's still here. It's all good, though.
That transition is yet to come.
Yeah, it's too damn expensive out here for him to live on his own. So Colorado's ridiculous. The world is ridiculous right now.
Yeah.
Are you guys safe out there in California right now?
I'm actually in Las Vegas. My family is okay, though. They're more inland. All of that usually is the fires are usually, it's always caused by the winds. So it's mostly cities close to the water. Further inland, there's usually not enough of one or the other. There might be a fire, but no wind, or there's some wind, but there's nothing causing a fire. It's usually the areas that are pretty bad. Where I lived in California was further inland. I came up in the sticks. Yeah, I was
okay.
I grew up in the orange groves. So
nice. Yeah, I've always grown up in the suburbs, so don't know nothing about that life. Cool, man. Well, again, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are both huge fans of yours. I've been a fan of yours for 20 years. You're one of the best out there to do it. So I really appreciate you taking the time to join us tonight and talk with us for a little while.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Was it true that this was the first ladder match in the Tokyo Dome this last weekend?
As far as I know, yeah.
Nice.
I think the company has had one or two maybe before, maybe one. I think Kenta Tanahashi. But as far as I know, it's the first one for the Tokyo Dome, yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. It's cool to be a part of history like that. Be a part of something that, first ever done.
Well, I'm just happy nobody died,
It was a great match. It was a really good match. I actually watched it again today.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
It was a very good match. That spot off of the ladder onto the other ladder was insane.
Well, I used Robbie to break my fall, so.
Yeah, it was nice and comfortable for you, at least. Yeah. Your wife's tweets during the match were fucking hilarious. She is so funny.
There's years back, there was TNA pay-per-view that it was during the pandemic era. And when we would have these schedules set out, you would wrestle like events like 3-4 days in a row, and then you'd be off for a while. And they would do that because for those 3 or 4 days you could like self-quarantine in the hotel. So they would have a hotel that was, the whole entire hotel was blocked off just for the talent roster, and everybody was isolated to a room. And my wife and I were just, we were still just dating at the time. We weren't married yet. And she would come stay with me for a week. That was like our first, you know, for the first like year that we were together, that's how we would date, was she would just be on the road with me. And that was the only way we could see each other. Anyway, she was in the room watching the pay-per-view, which was only down the street. And some other similar thing happened where it was like a kind of a dangerous moment. And she was live on Instagram eating pizza, watching the show at the time. So instead of tweeting, she was just like live commenting and, you know, I guess showing people her dinner. And there's this great reaction of her seeing something happen live where she has a slice of pizza and she's like eyes wide and mouth open, like that. I have a screenshot of it, and I keep it. It's one of my favorite pictures of hers. So whenever whenever she live reacts to stuff, I always remember that.
Yeah, that's hilarious. She's so funny. I follow her on Twitter. She's hilarious.
Yeah, she's great.
She cracks me up. But your kids are so damn cute too. From the few pictures that you guys have shared, they're freaking adorable.
Yeah, they're 56% cheeks. So
yeah, all cheeks for days.
Yeah.
That's adorable though. So of all the characters that you've played or been in your career, which one has been your favorite?
You know, probably right now. I've been waiting, God, 20 years to do this. You know, it's just one of those things that when I was young and I wanted to do this was when I first got to Japan. This was like 2002. And before I did Puma, when I was Puma, I wanted to make it like this. I wanted to make it a dark, macabre type thing. But like technology of the time and creating a costume and me being young and not really having the type of opportunities that I do now, it just wasn't feasible to create it. So I just kind of had to sit on it. Like, unless you were the Great Muta and you literally like we're going to spend $20,000 on like a costume, nobody could make what this looks like today. So I sat on it for a long time, and then Puma took a different direction. And then later, when I was Suicide, they took the mask off and they wanted to change the character like shortly after I did it. And so they asked me if I had any ideas, and I wanted to make it something like this. I was like, I wanted to like shred the costume and make it look like I was dug out of a grave, and have it look a little different every time, and start to change it into something like this. And they kind of only halfway committed to that. So they turned me into a cult member and threw me in a group with James and Sonata. So we were like, the Timu Wyatt family. And
or back then it would have been Wish, right? Timu wasn't around yet.
Yeah, the Wish version.
We were Alibaba Wyatt family.
Oh no.
So then I get fast forward a little bit, and Fergal Devitt, who's an old friend of mine, had debuted his demon character, and it was just so phenomenal, and he's so great at it. Still is to this day. It just seems like it's kind of like gone more by the wayside now. It's become more of a rare thing, and he's kind of moved on and evolved into other stuff. And so it just seemed like, well, the timing's not right. Although I was starting to get older and get more opportunities, it was like the timing just wasn't right. So I just thought I never would be able to do it. And then now it was like, the last couple of years, Undertaker's retired, the Great Muto's retired. People don't really see the Demon that much anymore. Mm-hmm. And it was just the right time, and the company trusts me a lot and gives me a lot of freedom to create things. So finally got to create something I've been waiting 2 decades to do.
That's awesome. It's awesome to finally be able to put your vision to life.
Yeah, it's a long time to wait.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, because in previous roles or in previous companies, it doesn't seem like they have quite as much creative freedom.
Yes and no. I mean, sometimes there isn't. Sometimes you have it, but like in WWE, for example, the engine is just so big that even when guys have creative freedom, sometimes so everything is a team effort there. And it's not like a lot of other places. It's really not like any other place, to be honest. I've only spent a brief amount of time in AEW, and there are some key differences that are very different as far as like how many people are involved in creating the production of an idea, a segment, a character, whatever, versus one or the other. And sometimes, like in WWE, I had tons of freedom to create stuff. The problem was not everybody on the team knew me, so they didn't really understand what I was thinking. So like the video game character, for example, in my mind, it would be like Ready Player One or like Scott Pilgrim. And it came off like they thought I was like they thought I was trying to create like a cringy streamer character. Like I was like creating the Paul brothers or something like that. So they would write these promos and things for me that it was like guys, I'm not trying to get on people's nerves on purpose. Like this is not what this is, but they didn't understand it because they don't know me, and they don't have enough time to learn who I am, and vice versa. So sometimes you just never find that middle ground. And then in other places, the lack of team effort doesn't help push your idea through enough. So it can be a double-edged sword, but New Japan is a sweet spot for me because I mean, I know the company so well, and they respect me enough to let me create stuff.
That's awesome.
So to talk about your characters, let's go back 2013. Obviously, Manic, TNA. You were able to become the X Division champion, which was amazing. Great run in that company. You just kind of alluded to it a little bit. In 2016, you get the call, go to the Machine, WWE. You become the inaugural Cruiserweight champion in the tournament that they had. What was it like getting there and getting the belt that they just renewed and redid and rebranded? What was it like being that inaugural champion coming into such a big stage?
Well, none of us knew there was going to be a belt until everybody else found out. I didn't know why Hunter was coming out there when they played his music. I thought for a second, like maybe we're being rickrolled and this tournament was just they're going to debut DX again. He's just going to kill us. Like maybe this whole thing wasn't real. Like so I didn't know he came out with that thing and showed off the belt. And so that was a fun surprise. I found out just like everybody else in the front row did. I knew I was going to win it for like a while because they asked me who I feel like would be a good matchup for me in the finals. Originally, I chose Zach, but I feel like in their mind that was too niche of a style, because we would probably not appeal to enough people. And
Right.
I think the combination of having me and Ibushi and then me and Metallic back to back in the same night in the last 2 rounds, I think checked off the boxes that they wanted as far as getting every demographic something that they would be entertained by. But it was a weird experience. You as a young wrestler, so many people want to go there. It's a team you grew up watching. For me, it was always New Japan. So it was like, not that I wasn't a WWF kid, but it was always something that from the very start, because I started in 1998. So from the very beginning, that door started off closed. Like it was never a realistic goal. So I never grew up. And as I was wrestling for so many years, for decades, I never thought well, this is a goal. Like, I just thought I'm never going to try to make this a goal because it's not feasible. So everything changed around that generation. And it was kind of weird because a lot of us, I know I did for sure, like had the foresight to know that that tournament would kind of go down as this generation's like Super J Cup. Like for so many of people my age, like that 1994 J Cup is like an eye opener for people that like, you know, you could be, you know, Eddie and Benoit size and Liger and like these guys and like become a superstar. I knew that would be a big historical thing. What I didn't really foresee was that it would start to change the company's mind, because it was like after that happens, all of a sudden it was like they wanted so many small guys. Like they had a few, like they had Prince Devitt and you know, I think they went and got Kenta and some guys like Austin Aries and some people. But I mean, after that, it was like, God, it was like Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, like anybody who was anybody. They didn't care how big you were. They were like, we could make money off of any of these guys. So I feel like being part of what changed kind of the history of how they do business was pretty, to me, looking back, that's the crazy part. Is like, I never thought that it would actually change their mind about how they do stuff. And I think the craziest part about it was like, it was still Vince's company at the time. So it's like, we had to change his mind. And that's a big deal, because he's legitimately a genius. Like, you know, for every other external thing that's going on, like he's a genius and he created everything that we know about the industry. So, change his mind about it was like a big deal, because you really have to nail something as far as a concept. You really got to hit a home run, because he's seen everything. He knows what will and won't work.
Yeah. I mean, you bring up a very good point there that, you know, no matter what's going on with his situation now, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have what we have today.
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough, nuanced conversation, right? I mean,
like, double-edged sword.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, some of the worst people anybody knows, sometimes they're family or friends or whatever, and sometimes it's not even about being, you know, a bad person versus actions or whatever. And I don't know, none of that stuff is really my business. But as far as my experience with him at work, you know, that was a big deal, like changing his mind and kind of being part of the last generation to work with him. Was, I don't know, in a history sort of way, it's kind of surreal to think, you know, that was like the last generation for the company and just for, you know, everything in general.
Yeah, because the company's changed a lot.
Quite a bit. I never thought I would see so many commercials on the ring mat. So
yeah,
it's very TKO-esque.
Yeah. I saw that debut on Monday. I was like, wow, that's a lot of fucking sponsors on the mat.
So it's funny you bring up Vince McMahon.
I guess that probably means all the boys are being paid, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So you bring up Vince McMahon, obviously, to your point, changing his mind and getting something etched into his brain that he sees something he can obviously make money off of and also use to his benefit. You got the belt that you won was exclusively defended on Monday Night Raw for a while with the brand extension. And then they go and they create 205 Live. What was that like, having you guys' own show? I mean, you get your hands on Kalisto, Tyler Bate, all these guys, and having awesome matches on this one show. What was it like, you guys having your own show like that, to be showcased like that?
Well, we knew the show was coming, I think, before anything else. But even that was kind of like dumped on us, like very abruptly. Like, we did the tournament, the title showed up out of nowhere. Everybody found out the same as the public did. And then it was like the closing meeting of the night was like, oh, by the way, you guys all have a show now. I was like, okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
One unique thing for me, which was somewhat unrelated, but to answer like the question about like how it felt to have that show. At the time, Shawn Michaels had just started working backstage. So he had been like away from the company and he was looking to come back and be sort of in that role. I don't know if he foresee if he foresaw himself taking over a whole division of the company, but he was coming back and to do some producing and coaching, that sort of thing, consulting, you know. And his first day on the job was actually the night I wrestled Swan in the tournament. And I remember he shadowed the creation of the match, which was cool for me because it's like he's my hero. So it's like my hero is like overseeing all this stuff, respecting my ideas and giving me stuff to learn from and all that. So fast forward to the tournament's over, and I kind of sought out mentorship from him. Everybody would go home after SmackDown, and I would fly to Orlando, and I'd spend an afternoon, like an hour or two, just sitting with him, and we would watch tape, or I would just pick his brain about stuff. Sometimes we just talk about life or whatever. And one of the cool things was he sort of helped me like view the show through the lens of like how Monday Night Raw was in like year one. So back in the day, Monday Night Raw was just like this short, like 1 hour type show. And there was a kind of a small roster of people, you know, they had Shawn, they had Brett, they had like Lex Luger, Yokozuna, The Undertaker. And there was, you know, maybe like 10, maybe a dozen guys, and that was it. And so it felt like there was sort of, I don't know, not a metaphor or an allegory, but like there was like the shape of what our show was sort of like how that was. So like seeing how the characters interacted and how they allotted time, how long it took to play a story out, how they had to format it, that helped me understand what we could do better on 205. So I would try to like pass that on to the guys, or like try to conceptualize story beats in the way that they had to tell stories then, because they didn't have 3 hours or whatever. They had 1 hour, and they had the same amount of guys. And in a way, 205 was very like cartoony too. Like I felt like everybody had like these like almost like 90s style like caricatures of characters, you know, almost like stereotypes. And so I thought that also made it feel like that type of show. So it was, he kind of helped me like view it in that way. So that was, to me, that was the most interesting part of 205 was kind of seeing how it's almost like a replay of the history of the company in a way, the way it's formatted.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That'd be awesome to work closely with Shawn Michaels, though. I mean, he's a legend. He's always been one of my favorites. You know, when I stopped watching WCW and started watching WWF way back in the day, it was because of DX and Shawn Michaels and Triple H. And then who would have realized that 30 years later, those two would actually be running the show?
Yep.
I mean, I'm sure they probably
legit took over.
Yeah.
They probably saw that coming. Yeah, I mean, it's not every day that, you know, Michael Jordan is going to teach you how to play basketball. So
exactly.
That was probably the best part of being in the company for a few years, was that.
That's really cool. Yeah, I was a big fan when you were in WWE, and I would watch 205 Live to watch your matches. And then when you left and went to TNA, I was tribalistic back then, but I would switch over to TNA to watch your matches, and then I would go about doing whatever I was doing. So yeah, you've always been one of my favorites. So
well, thank you. I appreciate that.
So how was it joining the United Empire? Whose idea was that?
I'm not sure whose idea it was, to be honest. It might have been sort of a group thing. I wasn't involved in it at all. I'm trying to remember what the deal was at the time. I think I wanted to sort of change directions a little bit. I was in a mentor position, you know, my first year back in the company. And so like, I felt like it was like a two-way, not like a miss, because I really enjoyed doing that with Clark Connors and the new LA Dojo generation, but I felt like it was sort of a miss to take me at this time where I'm now in my prime and coming off of, you know, the biggest company in the world, where I was on the biggest show in the world every Monday. Mm-hmm. And it's like, we're not creating interesting matches, and I'm sort of just in this teacher role. And so I just felt like the company wasn't getting the best version of me, and I wasn't really getting the best opportunities from the company. So I sort of asked if we could look at maybe changing directions, and that sort of just came up out of nowhere. Osprey and I were already friends, and we knew each other even before I went to WWE. Before he was going to New Japan, I remember we ran into each other, and we were in the same match on like an Evolve card or something like that. So I knew him a little bit. I gave him a little bit of advice before he came over to New Japan because he'd picked my brain about it a little bit. And it's funny, I joke that, hey, if this doesn't work out, I might have to follow you there. So fast forward a few years, and I ended up like, hey, good to see you again, buddy.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that played a factor or not, but yeah, it was really cool to kind of get in like sort of on the ground floor of something, because the faction itself was still pretty new. They only had a couple members really, and it was still kind of year one of the thing. And it's like sometimes it's like you join the NWO, but you're like 5 years into it, and it's not doesn't feel the same. So it was nice being in there on something where you actually felt like you were putting up the bricks with everybody else that had formed it, you know. And so that's actually something I to this day I still think is cool, because pretty much everybody except for like, you know, like Callum and Jacob, the more recent guys, like it felt like everybody had sort of been part of that foundation process. So
that's awesome. John,
do you have anything?
I got a couple more things. I do want to ask the question though, because of all the rumors that have been going around, and I just want Sean Rossap to suck it. Your contract status with New Japan.
My contract is up and we are negotiating. He is correct about that.
Okay. Because he made it sound like you were leaving.
Oh, I mean, no, there's not like there's not an intent to leave. No.
Yeah.
But it is the fact it is up, and we are working on renewing that and having a new one. I did not realize that was a rumor.
Yeah.
No, there's no intent to leave. I quite enjoy New Japan, and you know they're the team that drafted me, you know, out of high school. Yeah. So they're always going to be like home to me. But yeah, no, there's not an intent to leave.
Well, it's kind of funny. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, because you started wrestling when you were 13, right?
Yes.
And they were the first company that you really went to.
Yeah, right? The first, let's say 2-3 years was just me running away from home and ditching school to do local and regional indies and stuff. You know, I'd leave school on a Friday morning after getting dropped off and hop in a car and go to a show in LA or San Francisco or something somewhere. And then you just ask in the locker room, like, hey, who's going to this show in Vegas or Phoenix or San Diego or Tijuana or whatever tomorrow night? And somebody would be going that way. So you just hop cars and then do that show, and then, hey, who's doing this show on Sunday, you know, in Anaheim or whatever, and you'd hop cars again and sleep on floors or just sleep in the back of cars or whatever. And then it was just like, hey, is anybody going? I need to go back to school on Monday. So who's going that direction?
So who's getting me home?
Yeah. So that was like the first 2 years or so of my career, was just doing that. And, I was blessed to be in one of the WWF developmentals at the time, which was UPW in LA. I was the class that John Cena was learning from. I remember he was a trainee at the time. Victoria from the Divas era, she was training at the time as well. So that was cool. When I was 15 or so, I got a crash course education on how they do television, which has helped me a lot. Fast forward to like the Cruiserweight Classic, and I was one of only like 2 people in that whole tournament that knew how they do television production. Like I knew how referees keep time. I knew what they expected. I knew the tempo and the beat that they wanted on their television show. Nobody else knew that, because for everybody else, that was their first wrestling job. And then, when I was in my senior year of high school, New Japan scouted me, and I was almost didn't finish high school because I was just leaving every day to go train. And then at the end of summer, as soon as I turned 18, they first class plane ticket, tour contract, and just shipped me off to Tokyo. So I was like Nick Wayne before Nick Wayne.
Right.
A little bit.
Yeah.
You were the progeny before the progeny.
A little bit. I would see him every now and then the last few years before he got started at AEW. And so I would talk to him a little bit, because I could relate to that. And it's a unique situation to be in, to be that age and to be, kind of being pulled into your first real wrestling job. Can be overwhelming.
Yeah, I bet.
So like just alluded to, obviously the rumors whatever going on, you have obviously no intent of leaving New Japan. That's your home away from home. That's the people who draft you. You love it there. You're very comfortable there. You're also going to almost 30 years of wrestling, though. A lot of stuff, a lot more behind you than you have in front of you. And you talk a little bit about Shawn Michaels, Triple H, not obviously asking anything, in concrete or anything, but is there an urge before you call it a day and stay at home with the 2 little ones for all the time? Like, is there any urge to go back to either NXT, WWE, and have one more run there with the new regime that's there, with how they do things creatively with storylines and things like that? Would there ever be a want or a need on your part to maybe go do that one more time?
I don't know if urge is the right word. It sounds bleak, but I promise it's not. This has been a job to me now for probably 20 years. Because like anything that was like sort of on my bucket list, I was extremely lucky. Like I was very, very lucky and blessed. I did everything that really was on my bucket list by the time I was like 21. I had done some dark matches for WWE, and I thought, okay, well, I've wrestled in WWE ring or whatever. That's probably the best I'll ever do, as far as WWE goes. I had wrestled in the Tokyo Dome. I'd gone to New Japan, that was the one place I thought I would never go, because like at the time there's no social media, there's no anything in 1998. So I'm like, how the fuck do you even create a pathway to this company? Like at that time, it was you had to just be very lucky and somebody, So, and then TNA in the early years was super lit. I mean, it was like how AEW is now. Like it was very like
it was exciting. A great time to be there.
Yeah, it was super exciting and popular in an alternative sort of way. All these WCW guys and WWE guys were going there, and it was like, to be a young guy on that show was like, wow, this is crazy. Like Jeff Hardy's here, Kurt Angle's here, Booker T's here, Hulk Hogan's here, Sting is here, fucking Sting is here, like that's crazy,
Yeah.
So it's been a long time since I've really thought like I have an urge or a craving to do something. Since then, it's really just been a very, very, very long maturing process into becoming a man and responsibly being a professional and turning into a career. But I guess the shorter version of that answer is, while I don't know if it's like an urge, I would love to go back. I still talk to people in the office all the time. So perhaps if the timing and things were right over the last couple of years, I may have already gone back. I don't know. But the stars haven't aligned, probably for a reason. I guess. However, at some point in time, I feel like my education is going to lead me into coaching and producing. So, perhaps perhaps that'll end up kind of pushing me there. When I first came into the Cruiserweight Classic, I remember after the first match, Hunter had pulled me aside, and I thought, well, maybe he's going to tell me about the match or something. And he did a little bit, but first thing out of his mouth was, "You ever thought about coaching and producing?" I was like, well, I'll just do it right now. Because I didn't care. I didn't think I was going to stay there. I thought I was going to go back to Japan in 2016. I thought I would do this tournament and just leave, Didn't occur to me I would stay and have a WWE chapter of my career or anything. So I was like, I'll just coach now, because I had no pride in staying. I don't need to be in front of the camera, ever since then, it always kind of felt like maybe that is what my future is. So I don't know. Maybe I got to go back before that starts and sort of player coach, but who knows?
No, that'd be awesome, man. Yeah, no, it's to get that from Paul Levesque is to get that first thing out of the mouth after a match. That's amazing to hear. That's good stuff,
well,
man. That's awesome.
He's very smart. So obviously, he doesn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't run the big company for no reason. So. It was a big compliment for him to think like maybe this is the cloth that you're cut from. For him to think that that's what I would be able to do is pretty big.
You've got so many years of knowledge,
and
experience, and you've wrestled so many people that are just huge, and wrestled so many huge matches, and in the Tokyo Dome, you'd be an asset.
Well, I hope so. I hope I don't make it worse, but.
Well, it's funny actually bringing that up, being as young as you got into the business, like especially with the NIL deals that they do now, being there to talk to somebody that young, like, you know what I mean? That's you have knowledge that is just invaluable, man. That's awesome, man. You could do a lot more good than bad. I'll tell you that much.
I think the interesting thing about that is a lot of how they've built their system is built to sort of emulate the freelance experience of building a career. Mm-hmm. And the concept of that is great. But I feel like, especially from the time that I was there, and, I was lucky in the sense of I bypassed NXT, so I didn't really spend a lot of time there. But in passing through and seeing some of the people there, the ones that come from outside of wrestling that they're trying to sort of integrate into the business in the industry, their system, which is, like I said, built to like emulate the freelance experience and sort of teach these foundational things, there's a disconnect, and it doesn't really teach people that, which is tough, because it could just mean that it's something you can't fake, the authenticity of it. You either want this and you grew up loving it, or you just don't. And nothing in the world could ever force you to do that, which in turn means nobody could ever implant those experiences in you, because you have to choose to carry that cross. You know what I'm saying? However, I do believe that there's more that can be done to sort of translate that to these athletes that their first choice wasn't wrestling, and maybe they don't love it. I do think that there's a way to communicate and relate to them, and perhaps they just don't have enough of the right coaches, or any of the right coaches. I don't know. Like, maybe nobody is able to speak to them in that way. And so that is something that I would personally hope that's something that I could add, because a lot of the guys I have are brilliant coaches, but I feel like there's a relatability from my traveling the world that it's like, I've seen this on every continent, there's no inch of this world that I haven't understood and experienced in an authentic way, the wrestling culture. So it's like, I feel like I would be able to communicate that a little bit in ways that other people maybe can't.
Absolutely.
Yeah, real life experiences, they trump anything.
Yeah, you can't fake it. Certain things you just can't. But you can hopefully lead them to it.
Yep. Lead them and teach them. Oh, got anything else, John?
No, that was all I really had. I appreciate it. And thank you again so much. Like this is just such a great interview with all the knowledge and everything you've done. This is amazing.
Well, thank you guys very much for having me, and thanks for taking an interest in my work.
Absolutely. Like I said, I've been a fan for a long time.
Yeah.
So it's an honor to actually have you on the show. So I really appreciate it. And I'm working with Wifey. I want to get her on too.
I don't think people understand like how valuable she is as well, and she's got so much experience in her time in wrestling. And you know, because she's made such an incredible sacrifice being a mom, like I think that people at the moment don't realize it. So
yeah, and that's exactly what I want to focus on.
I would definitely be viewer number one if you're able to get her on. So
yeah, we've talked a little bit about it, so we're still talking about it. So I definitely want to get her on, talk about her career, talking about the transition to being a mom, you know, to being a mom to, you know, or a wife to a wrestler that's on the road a lot, you know, just her experiences and everything. Just want to talk, pick her brain.
She would be much less boring than me as a guest. So definitely.
Oh man, you haven't been boring at all.
We're in the least.
But I appreciate you taking the time out to hang out with us tonight. It's been, like I said, an honor. I'd love to have you on the show again in the future.
Thank you very much. I'd be happy to. Yeah,
that would be super fun. Tell your boys about us. I mean, we're trying. No, just kidding. Just kidding. But yeah, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule with the kids and everything else to be with us tonight. And we just really appreciate having you here.
No, I thank you very much again.
Yeah, absolutely. When's your next big match?
Let's see. I believe that we are, I guess the next notable thing, I believe I'm returning to Japan for New Japan Cup, which is coming up in the springtime. But the soonest thing is Aria and I are working on making the next Pinche Loco Pro show. So we're putting together our next mystery card, and we're aiming for Valentine's Day, which is stereotypical, but
there you go.
That could be a lot of fun for anybody in the Southwest area, Vegas, Los Angeles, or whatever. If you're in town for Valentine's Day, Nerd Bar Las Vegas, Pinche Loco Pro, we're working on putting together a show. So come see our mystery card.
Awesome.
Definitely go check that out. Well, I appreciate everybody tuning in tonight and everybody joining. We've got quite a few viewers tonight, so I thank you, TJP, for that, because that's all because of you. We will be back next Wednesday with our normal show, Wednesday night after Dynamite. So I appreciate everybody tuning in tonight, and have a good night.
Thanks,
Peace
guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.